Hi and welcome back. Today I'm going to give you a brief introduction to the next project that I'm going to be working on, which is a Nuremberg box. If you're not familiar with the Nuremberg box, it's basically an iron box or a chest that has a lock mechanism in the lid. These boxes come in all shapes and sizes, and some of the more elaborate lock mechanisms can be a real puzzle to figure out. But I'm going to start off with a very basic small chest for this project, just to give you an idea of how the whole thing works. Once you get an understanding of a simple one, the more complex mechanisms start to become more understandable. There are two main features that distinguish the Nuremberg box from other types of locked chests, and the first one is the number of bolts that the lock mechanism has. I'm going to be using a very simple lock mechanism, and it only has 3 bolts, and they're shown here on the sketch in blue. More elaborate mechanisms could have a dozen or more bolts circled around the lid of the box. When the lid is closed, these bolts slide underneath the rim of the box and secure the lid and prevent it from being pried open. Again, this only has 3 bolts, and you can see the locations where they're going to be locked in under the lid. The other feature that distinguishes a Nuremberg box from other types of chests is the elaborate mechanism that is used to operate these bolts, and I just have that grayed out as a square box right now. That represents the mechanism that I'll be detailing later on in this video. There's usually only one key that operates the entire mechanism, and it usually gets inserted somewhere in the lid. It can be in the center of the lid, but quite often it's in a different location. These boxes are also fitted quite often with dummy locks or fake locks that are an attempt to fool people from finding the actual keyhole that works the mechanism. So when you turn that key operates the mechanism that works the entire lock, regardless of how many bolts there are on that lock. It always works from one key. So here's a quick look at the entire mechanism that I'm going to be building. You can recognize the keyhole towards the bottom of the lock and the 3 bolts that are positioned around the outside perimeter of the lock. The other things are basically just levers and springs that operate the lock. Here I have the lock stripped down to its main component, which is the rod that drives the entire mechanism. And the shape of this piece is designed to either activate the bolt directly or push on a lever that's going to activate one of the bolts. So it gets activated by the key, and it basically just slides from side to side within the lock. Here I've added the bolts to the lock, and you can see on the right hand side the bolt is actually directly connected to the main rod. And that's because the key is going to be pushing the rod over to the left, so I can have a direct connection here, and it's going to move the bolt in the right direction. On the top and left hand side of the lock, you can see how I need to add levers to reverse the direction of the main rod to get the bolts going in the right direction. The curved lines that I've added to this drawing represent the springs that are going to push the mechanism back in place when the key is released. So I hope that gives you a basic understanding of where all the parts that I'm going to be building over the next few weeks are going to wind up. Hi, I'm Dennis, and thanks for watching. If you're interested in supporting this channel, the simplest way, of course, is to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have questions and you want to contact me directly, you can do so by emailing me at either one of the addresses that I have listed here. It may take me a couple of days, but I will get back to you. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.